Hello, my amazing artists. Do you know that you have knitting needles with you at all times? That's right, you can use your fingers to
Wow.
knit. All you need is your hand and some yarn. We're going to start out by learning how to knit with one finger. It's the easiest way to get started, and let's get to the tutorial. To start your finger knitting, you're going to put your hand palm up and place the tail of the yarn in between your pointer and middle finger. Pause the video to do that now. Now that we have the tail of our yarn in between our two fingers and on the palm of our hand, we are going to wrap our finger twice with the yarn, going all the way around. Let's see that again, slow motion. Once, and then twice, going from the middle all the way around the outside of the finger. Now watch, we're going to go to the outside and wrap it around. One last time, you're going to wrap it once, going to the outside of the finger first, back towards your fingers. Your turn. Pause the video. Okay, now that we have our two loops on our finger, we are going to grab the bottom loop and pull it over the top, taking it off of our finger. I know that was really fast. We are going to watch it again. Make sure when you wrap, you go to the outside first. You go over, pull the bottom loop over the top loop. This is how you finger knit. So I did another loop, pull it off. Another loop, bottom, whoops. Try again. Bottom loop gets pulled over the top. You just keep repeating this over and over, wrapping your finger, go to the outside to the inside, bottom loop over the top loop. And you might need to, while you are knitting, scoot your one loop farther down your finger so it doesn't fall off. As you can see here, just keep continuing over and over. On my one finger, wrapping it, pulling the bottom loop over the top, pulling it tight. Wrapping it, pulling the bottom over the top, pulling it tight. Wrap it, bottom over the top, pull tight. Wrap it, bottom over the top, pull tight. And you'll see that it's starting to form a braided or knitted chain. Okay, you want to see how fast Miss Jen can finger knit? On your mark, get set, go! When you're finished finger knitting, you're going to take it off your finger, hold the loop, and cut your yarn. And then you're going to tie it into a knot by making an X with the two pieces and putting one of the ends through the loop of the X. It's a little tricky to see here, but you're just going to tie it into a knot at the end. And you're ready to make it into a snake, a necklace, a bracelet, whatever you would like. Okay, that was one finger knitting. Are you ready for the challenge? Can you do two fingers? Let me show you how. To start, just like with one finger knitting, you're going to put the tail of the yarn in between your pointer and middle fingers, letting the tail go on your palm. You're going to wrap your first finger just like one finger knitting, except this time you're going to sneak around the back side of your second finger. You're going to make a figure 8 around your fingers. You see there's two loops on the back. We need to make a second loop on the front. Keeping the tail down. Put it back through the middle. It kind of makes like a figure 8 around your two fingers. And the yarn will now be in the back side of your hand. So you're going to wrap a second time because we need two loops for knitting. Back through the middle. I got 1, 2 loops here. I'm going to wrap around the second finger. Now we are ready to finger knit. So we're going to grab that bottom loop, pull it over the top, dropping it off the finger for both fingers, pulling it tight, and the string on the back again. All right, I'm scooting it down my fingers so it doesn't fall off. And I'm gonna wrap once and twice, making that figure 8 shape around my 2 fingers. Pulling the bottom over the top, letting it go. I'm scooting it back down so I have some more room. Looping it around the 2 fingers in that figure 8 shape. Bottom loops over the top, pull it tight. You'll see that chain is starting to be knitted in between my fingers there. So I go between the 2. In that figure 8 shape, bottom loops over the top, pull it tight. Remembering to scooch it down so that your loops don't fall off your fingers. Go around in that figure 8 shape. Bottom loops over the tops, pull tight. Okay, it's time for speed knitting again. On your mark, get set, go! I don't know if you're ready for this. This is the most extreme finger knitting challenge yet. 4 fingers. I know you can do it. It's really hard. It's extreme. Can you do it? Let's give it a shot. Okay, to start,
The extreme 4-finger knitting challenge. You're
going to put the tail of the yarn through your fingers just like before. Wrap that first finger. You're going to kind of do over under weaving over all 4 of your fingers. And we're going to come back and do the same thing, kind of wrapping those figure 8s like we did with the 2-finger finger knitting. Squishing it all down on our fingers so we see that all the fingers are wrapped on both sides. And we're going to start with our pointer. And we're going to go around the second finger, around the ring finger, around the pinky. As you'll see, we have 2 loops now on each of these fingers. And keeping that tail on the palm of the hand, we are going to take the bottom loop and pull it over the top loop. I kind of yank on that little tail to tighten it up and to keep it on my hand. I'm feeling it kind of come kind of loose when I do that. Scooching all of those loops down so that this doesn't fall off. I'm going to wrap the pinky, wrap the ring finger, wrap the second finger, wrap my pointer. Notice I went behind each finger first and then all the way around. So bottoms over the tops. There we got it. Scooch them all down and wrap. To go behind and around, behind and around, behind and around. Taking that bottom loop over the top, bottom loop over the top. Pulling it tight once again. So you'll see it's making a much thicker knit than our 1 or 2 finger knitting. That's the benefits of using 4 fingers. You will knit something that's much wider. All right, here we go back at it again. Wrapping the one going behind and around, behind and around, behind and around. Taking that bottom loop over the top, bottom loop over the top. And pulling it tight. Scooching it down so it doesn't fall off when I wrap it again for that second loop. All right, here we go. I think we need some speed knitting. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. When you are ready to finish your 4-finger finger knitting, you're going to knit 1 finger, take it off, put that loop on the neighbor finger, bottom over the top, pull tight, take it off, put it on the neighbor finger, bottom over the top, pull tight, take it off, put it on the neighbor, pull tight. Then I always take just this last section, cut the yarn, and tie it in a knot to hold it securely. There you have it. You have finished your 4-finger knitting challenge, extreme knitting. Nice work.